Right. Pedroia has the 11th highest active batting average, just under 300, 299. Injuries knocked him out of most of the season last year. Look at that piece of hitting. It's spring training, and Pedroia does his job. Blue Jays really tightened up their defense a year ago, and they have one of the best outfield defenses in baseball. Today it's Carrera in left, Pilar and Bautista in center and right, respectively. Donaldson and Goins at shortstop, Barney and Colabello on the right side, and Josh Tolley gets the start this afternoon here in Montreal.
Ryan Goins will be at shortstop today for Troy Tulowitzki. Have the day off.
This is Xander Bogaerts, the young shortstop. Boy, you talk about having a pair of outstanding 23-year-olds. Bogaerts and Betts have really performed well, and they're both just 23.
He looks bigger this year, doesn't he? I think the power is going to start to show in his game.
A year ago, Bogaerts hit 7 home runs, drove in 81, but I agree with you. I think he's really about on the verge of really exploding.
You got to learn to hit at the big league level. That means hit the ball all over the ballpark. He did that. He was one of the best two-strike hitters in baseball. He was one of the better right-handed batters to go the opposite way to right field. Now when he starts to learn to turn on the ball, watch out.
Bogaerts and Betts were 1-2 in batting average from the 19th of May through the end of the season. Bogaerts hit .335 from that date. Betts hit .315. Scott Copeland, he made 5 appearances for the Jays last season, including 3 starts. Up and in. So Bogaerts takes a walk, and that'll bring David Ortiz to the plate.
34th, the designated hitter, number 34, frappant quatrième, le frappeur désigné, le numéro 34, David Ortiz.
Big Papi is on a farewell tour. He has announced this will be his final season in the big leagues. He's late on that fastball.
Well, we know who the fan favorite is here in Montreal. We were watching batting practice today, and every time he stepped into the cage, you got a standing ovation. Crowd started going crazy for him.
These people are really anxious to show their support of baseball. Bouncing ball. Goins goes to the bag. They got a shot at 2, and they get Copeland out of it. Well, the Blue Jays defense with Goins playing at shortstop, aggressively coming after that ball and turns the double play. Ryan Goins a year ago made 48 starts at short. Here he starts an inning-ending double play. Josh is 30 years old. Born in Pensacola, Florida. Of course, it has yet to really play itself out, but it might be considered one of the most lopsided trades in Blue Jays franchise history, acquiring Donaldson from the Oakland Athletics.
The one kid that Oakland got, Franklin Barreto, I guess we have to see what he does. He's going to make his way up through the minor league systems, but as it stands right now, that was a win for the Jays.
Blue Jays picked up Donaldson November 28, 2014 from the A's for Brett Lawrie, Kendall Graveman, Sean Nolan, and Franklin Barreto.
Who's a good player. He's a shortstop. He was one of the best players in the Blue Jays farm system at the time of that trade.
Donaldson takes that breaking ball inside. He passes the baton to Bautista. Pat, that's a subtle aspect of this lineup that doesn't get the recognition it deserves, is how they'll turn things over to their partner behind them.
Hey, they understand hitting as well as any team that I've ever been around. Understanding how a lineup works together, and if you sense like the pitcher doesn't want to throw to you, and I think Donaldson sensed that. He threw him 3 straight breaking balls off the plate after he got ahead. He said, I'll give that baton to Bautista and see what Jose can do.
Jose got a first pitch fastball and flies out to right. Quick inning for Sean O'Sullivan. Scoreless after 1 with the big O in Montreal. Baseball celebration going on here in Montreal, and for more on that, let's check in with Hazel May, who's standing by with a special guest.
That's right. I'm standing by, Buck, with the man who started it all, the president of Montreal Baseball Project, Mr. Warren Cromartie. Warren, before I ask you about the status of getting a Major League Baseball team back in this city, it's 3 straight years now the Blue Jays have closed out their exhibition schedule here in Montreal. How much do you think this has helped your cause?
Tremendous. I mean, it put us on the map. It made Major League Baseball realize that we are still viable. You know, we've had this team since 1969. This is not our first time going around. So after 11 years, I think the fans are speaking here in the city of Montreal. They want their team back. So, you know, 106,000 people in 2 games for a stadium not supposed to be up to par, and a team is not even in Montreal Expo. So not bad.
Not bad at all. So where are we? What's happening now as you move forward in trying to get Major League Baseball back in this beautiful city?
Well, since we've been called out by the commission in the past couple of weeks, get our stuff together here, I have a group together, and we're going to address these issues and kick it up a notch as far as the political scene with the mayor that we have here, finding a place for the stadium, and addressing some of the issues that need to be addressed as far as the financial package, where the stadium's going to be, that type of thing. So it's taking a life of its own, so we can only take it so far, but we know what we have to do, Hazel, and we believe in it. and not too bad at 4 years when I started this thing all by myself here, and this is where we are today.
You've got the entire city, entire country behind you. Good luck to you, and hopefully we'll catch up later on the season.
Thank you so much, and I'd just like to put a shout out to the Toronto Blue Jays for making this happen, because at one point in time they were our little brother in the Pearson Cup at Exhibition Stadium, so they're doing us a great deal by making this happen. Thank you so much.
All right, Buck, back to you.
Thank you, Hazel. That's the great Warren Cromartie, who was a terrific player here for the Expos. And Pat, the Expos, you start running down the roster of players they developed and signed. It's pretty impressive.
Hall of Famers, all-stars, year in and year out, and that great talent would mesh. And went to the playoffs in 1981. You and I had a great chat with Warren before the ball game, and we asked him, do you get a team before you build the stadium? He said, we got to get a team first, and then we would try to get a stadium built downtown. They would have to play in this ballpark before that, and this is a great ballpark. It's Major League all the way.
Yeah, this is a Major League ballpark, and they have questions about the long-term viability of this stadium given the location and the fact it's probably too big. I think they have their sights set on a downtown stadium, more compact stadium along the lines of Minnesota's Target Field, something like that.
I was thinking along the lines of, if you build it, they will come type of thing. If they build a stadium, they get a team. But he said, no, we need to get a team first before we think about. But he also said what he was just telling Hazel, that you have to get a group together. And he's getting that together right now.
Well, one thing that happened to Tampa Bay, they were promised a team and they built the stadium, and they didn't build a very good stadium. And then the White Sox backed out of it, and they had to wait around for an expansion team. So I agree with Warren. I think you get commitment of having a team and then play here for a couple of years and then get a new stadium. Good battle by Copeland against Hanley Ramirez, and Scott wins it with a strikeout. That's his first strikeout of the afternoon.
You mentioned some of the starts that Scott Copeland had last year. He had that one outstanding start. If you remember that back in June against the Florida Marlins, where he won his first big league game.
Copeland is now 28 years old. They'll fill out the rotation down in AAA Buffalo. As Pat mentioned, a 21st round pick of the Orioles out of Southern Mississippi University. Here is Pablo Sandoval. We saw him enter the game as a pinch hitter in last night's game. He got a couple of at-bats. Sandoval back to switch hitting. He gave it up last year after going 2 for 42. For his career, he's been a pretty good hitter as a right-handed hitter. That's what he gave up. He's hit strictly left-handed last year. But his career average, 261. But he struggled last year and gave up switch hitting.
He's been a great major leaguer. He's got some World Series rings, and he was directly responsible for a couple of those when he was with the San Francisco Giants last year. Just a disaster. Everything that could go wrong went wrong for him.
Fly ball to center. That's going to stay in the yard. Pilar back in front of the warning track. 2 down.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Honda Civic. Now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
This is Brock Holt starting in left field today. We mentioned Holt made his first All-Star team a year ago. Named to the All-Star team by the manager Ned Yost. Curveball just missed the outside corner. Players like Holt in this day and age are ultra valuable.
Well, you got 25 guys for a roster, right? And this seems like every year more pitchers are making the team. Blue Jays are going to carry 8 relievers to start the season. So if you've got some of those utility players, that'll help the manager that he can mix and match with.
Ground ball booted by Barney, and Holt just barely out by a half a step. Darwin Barney, Gold Glove winner in 2012 with the Cubs, stayed with it, didn't panic. He's able to throw at Brock Holt, who was hustling down the line. Bang bang at first.
time brought to you by Scott's Turf Builder Grass Seed with Water Smart Plus coating. Grows grass quicker and thicker, guaranteed.
Big league atmosphere here at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. The fans have come out in droves. They had over 50,000 last night. Appears to be the same, if not a larger crowd here this afternoon. Pat, these people are supercharged for baseball, aren't they?
I love it. They're trying to make a statement, if you ask me, that they want to have baseball back here. And the Blue Jays, to a man, love it. They love coming up here at the end of spring training.
Chris Colabello, the first baseman, takes the first pitch strike. Spring numbers for Colabello. He didn't hit a home run, but he's a guy that always works on his stroke first, and he believes that results will follow.
Yeah,
right
don't
there,
worry.
He was looking for an inside pitch.
Don't worry about the power numbers in spring training. What you want to do is you want that batting feel, if you will, heading into the regular season on an upward swing. Right now, talking to Chris the other day, he was saying, I feel like I'm pulling off of a lot of pitches. You can see that front shoulder starting to leak just a little bit outside, and that'll make you tardy on the fastball.
Good fastball from Sean O'Sullivan, catches Colabello. One down here in the second. That's the first strikeout for O'Sullivan. Yeah, this time of the year, obviously, you want to be going into the regular season feeling confident at the plate, but I think Colabello's a little bit in between right now.
A little in between. We were talking to him, you and I, in Dunedin before we came up here to Montreal about it. He really wants to feel like he can hit a ball right over the first base dugout. Then he knows that he's staying back. Right now, he's just a little bit too anxious and trying to go out and get the baseball.
This is Ryan Goins. 250 exactly a year ago. And boy, he became a stalwart, especially defensively at second base, second half of the season.
You and I were talking before the ball game, and we were trying to come up what a good fielding percentage is. So I looked at Ryan Goins' numbers as a second baseman. He's a career .992 fielder at second base. That's good. I think anything over .990 is exceptional.
Well, it's so difficult to quantify how well a player plays defensively or how much range he has. You know, and Goins isn't characterized as being fast, but he's extremely quick. His first step judgment is exceptional.
Smart too. We saw the double play that he turned with Tulowitzki in last night's ball game. The only way that was going to happen is if he came aggressively to come and get that slow roller.
He takes a walk. Second walk for the Blue Jays. Yeah, when you start to break numbers down, and John Farrell, he is big into the numbers. He believes that some of the numbers can really be beneficial to help you out, but fielding numbers are very difficult to interpret because we can see guys getting good jumps, and fields are different, and different feelings on dirt as opposed to turf, and grass is slower, and all those things factor in.
Total chances, I think, is a good one.
Why does total chances give you an indication of a defensive player's abilities?
I think for an infielder, if you've got a ground ball type of pitching staff, that's important too. If you got a staff like the New York Mets who strike everybody out, then total chances aren't going to really factor in what kind of infield that you have. But if you've got a pitch to contact type of pitching staff that throw a lot of ground balls, you need infielders who can go get the ball. There are some good infielders who don't make errors, and then there are some good infielders who get to more balls and they might commit more errors, but their range is so much better and they have more chances. If you've got the guy like a Tulowitzki or a Goins who are always up there in total chances, yet they have small amount of errors, you're going to have a good infield.
Ball on the strike to Ezequiel Carrera, the left fielder. Pulled to the first baseman. Ramirez stepped on the bag. Now Goins is in the rundown, and he's going to be tagged out. Hanley Ramirez handles that perfectly. Bouncing ball, he stepped on first, and they complete the double play. That ends the second. Back to Montreal. We go to the third inning. There's no score here in Montreal, and this is spring training, and we are very fortunate now to have the general manager of the Toronto Blue Jays, Ross Atkins, with us in the booth. And Ross, you just made it through your first spring training. You see the Blue Jays firsthand on an everyday basis. What are your initial impressions about your new ball club?
Yeah, it really couldn't be much better. I can't imagine coming into a first spring training as a general manager and having a better team than that. They, on top of talent, have a ton of chemistry that's been much talked about, but it's palpable. You know, I think when you have veteran players pulling for and looking to help younger players, and the younger players are looking to learn from the more veteran players and talking about what they actually are learning, I can't imagine having a better environment. And then the way that Gibby has embraced, you know, Mark and I, and embraced some of the additions less than changes has been incredible. I can't say enough about the transition thus far.
When you got the job, you probably started thinking about spring training. Then you started thinking about goals that you set for spring training. Did you accomplish those goals as a general manager?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, first and foremost, I was thinking about people, you know, thinking about how I could, you know, build relationships as soon as possible. You know, it's one thing to have respect. It's a whole nother to get trust. So, you know, I've focused on relationships, and I feel like I'm getting closer and closer to that trust level with some. It'll be a while before I have it from most, and my goal will be to have it from all. So, but yeah, I think, you know, from a relationship standpoint, the people that I'm working with on a daily basis, some of the infrastructure we built out in player development on the high performance side, strategy on scouting, and then the familiarity with a very good lineup and bolstering the pitching staff. You know, those were the things we were looking to get accomplished and feel good about them.
How much does it help you as a general manager to come in with Mark as the president, where you two have worked together, obviously, and you've had different roles together in Cleveland? How does that help you make this transition?
I mean, I couldn't write it up any better. You know, so you have one, he's my boss, and I know what I have, you know, in someone that's going to be leading me, someone that I can lean on, and someone that I absolutely trust. And then secondarily, someone that's sat in my shoes and has the experience that I can bounce absolutely anything and everything off. But what I also have is I have a friend. So, you know, that combination of those three variables, I can't imagine that many general managers have that in their boss.
You mentioned a word right there I think is very important. You mentioned friend, and Russell Martin, in talking about the experience a year ago, says winning is great, but when you win with your friends, it's really special, and that must be the same type of feeling you have.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing better than trust, you know. So, I mean, there's nothing more powerful than doing something great with people you trust and respect. And, you know, I think, you know, Mark is one of the most trusted guys in baseball. It's been interesting to see how he's been slowly embraced here. And you could say in some ways the transition hasn't been so smooth, but he, you know, when people, whether it's former managers, former players, are calling me and saying, man, I can't believe how, you know, there's been some criticism of him. It's amazing thinking about how respected he is in the game. But to have him alongside, I couldn't ask for anything better.
You've had a chance to watch the team now for 6 weeks here in spring training, just about. You and I had this discussion. Is there one player or a couple of players on the Blue Jays that you might have saw him for 3 or 4 days? Now you got a chance to watch him for 6 weeks, and you say, wow, this guy is better than I thought.
Yeah, it's the guys that don't get talked about as much. You know, Kevin Pillar, Ryan Goins come to mind. Those guys, man, are really impressive. The attention to detail on defense, the passion to be great. They're not just thinking about being contributing players. They want to be they want to be stars. And, you know, hey, that's not an easy task, and not suggesting that it's a no-brainer it's going to happen. But, man, these guys are driven, committed, and focused on baseball. And it's really impressive to see them on a daily basis, because you see the defense, you see the base running aggressiveness, you see the attention to detail in their work, and those are things that contribute to being great.
Russ, we certainly want to welcome you in this first season. We appreciate your time this afternoon, and we know it's going to be a good season. It's just a matter about who's going to end up on top, as Mookie Betts once again. We're going to figure out a way how to get out Mookie Betts. You got any ideas? How did Cleveland handle him?
Yeah, man, he now is short, compact. He's got a little pop, great swing, good athlete. it's going to be interesting playing against them all year. Feel really good about how we're lining up, but they're a good team.
I think you should walk him, then you know he's at first base. So he's not in scoring position.
Yeah.
Right here, he is tough.
How do you look at the division now? I know that's not your #1 concern. That's your ball club. But when you look at this division,
Yeah.
just kind of evaluating what you see in the division.
Yeah, you know, you could go to each team and you can point to their strengths and you can point to their weaknesses. I don't think that there's any one team that you could say they're out of it, and I don't think that you could say there's any one team that's better equipped than us. So, you know, that's a very good feeling to have, that I don't feel as though there's one team that is more balanced than us. There's some teams that are younger than us, and we're playing one of them right here. The Rays are young and athletic. They have very good pitching. You know, I say the Yankees are similar to us, and then they have some older players that are established that they're going to experience. They're going to benefit from that experience, as we are now that we've been there. And you know, that environment that these guys have been there and are tasting it and pulling for one another is hugely valuable. So, and the Orioles, you know, they have a chance to score a ton of runs, and they have some dynamic players on their teams. If they can prevent runs, they'll be right in the thick of it too. So, you know, the AL East is no joke. It never will be. It's always going to be a great division, and it's the one you should want to play in, as far as I'm concerned.
It's a meat grinder of a schedule, and it takes more, I think, than 25 players. And I think what you did during spring training, right before spring training, gathering some depth within the organization, was that one of your goals also?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've been fortunate. We've stayed healthy, but I think there's not many teams that could say right now that they have 8 legitimate major league starters, you know, that they could lean to. And we did not have that at the start of the offseason. The work that Mark and Tony did to get Hap, Estrada, Chavez here, then the trade that helped the bullpen. R.A. Dickey, man, the second half that he had, I'm really excited about him. And, you know, we'll see with Gavin Floyd. I mean, he is such an elite competitor. He's done it before. So at some point, I hope we don't need him as a starter. I really don't. But most teams don't get through with just 5.
Last year, the average in the American League was 10 starters per team.
Yeah.
So you're going to test your depth at some point of this season.
And then the outfield, I feel great about the depth in our outfield. I feel great about some of the depth with Devin Travis coming on the infield. You know, the young players you guys saw yesterday. Richie Urania is going to be a star. I mean, that guy, you don't see A-ball guys come up and be unfazed by environments. He looked like he was playing in his backyard.
That was a great opportunity to see his skills, and this is popped in the air off the bat of Xander Bogaerts. That ends the inning. Ross Atkins, thank you very much for your time. Good luck this season.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, Tabby.
Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to @BAT Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel, and make sure you sign up for that, because tomorrow the regular season begins, and the Blue Jays will start it off down in St. Pete against the Tampa Bay Rays. And if you like pitching, you better turn in tomorrow. They got Chris Archer against Marcus Stroman, two young stars in the game, and they'll hook up for Game 1 of the 16 season. Darwin Marney just cut a seed into center field. Boy, he's a nice pickup, Pat.
Certainly is, especially where it on the infield he can play and what he can do. He's a sure-handed player, and if you're going to have an extra guy, an extra infielder, he better be able to handle the glove, and Darwin can do that. That's a nice swing right there. Send that thing right back through the middle where it came from.
Darwin won a Gold Glove with the Cubs in 2012 at second base.
They picked him up late last year. Couldn't believe that he was in AAA all season long with the Dodgers.
He made 6 starts for the Blue Jays a year ago and did a good job. This is Josh Tolley. He'll be the caddy for R.A. Dickey. Of course, he does such a great job handling that knuckleball. Josh has actually got a little more pop in his stroke this spring. Got to bend back out of the way of that one.
5 RBIs for Josh Tolley. And 3 doubles, starting to pop the ball just a little bit harder.
Ball and a strike to the Blue Jays catcher. Inside. Good time for the Blue Jays to play hit and run here. Barney's a good base runner, not a speed merchant by any means, but you see Josh Rutledge just taken over at second base for Dustin Pedroia, and Mauricio Dubon has taken over at short. There goes the runner. Hit and run was on.
You've done this before, haven't you?
Everything matches up, you know. Josh doesn't run well, of course. Ball on the ground could be a double play, so you start the runner, try to create a hole on the infield.
I think that's also a benefit for the hitter, too, in a situation like this. Really concentrate on just seeing the baseball. You're not going to try and do too much with it when you've got the hit and run on. Just make good solid contact with it. Try and get the ball on the ground.
Count is even at 2-2. Yeah, I like the hit and run for guys, especially for extra players. They don't get a lot of at-bats. They come into a game and you take the decision out of their hands.
Yes, make contact. They'll probably start the runner here too. 3-2, nobody out. Just get a piece of it.
There goes the runner.
Bad fourth.
Pitch was inside. Hannigan makes a good throw, but it's a moot point. Tolley jogs to first. That's 3 walks now for the Blue Jays. That'll turn the lineup over to the leadoff man, Kevin Pillar.
This is a good sign right here. He was talking about this pitch after the ball game, that it was a knuckleball that just stayed right on the hitting plane, and it just stayed right out there in front of him. And Pillar with the home run. That's got to feel good as you hit your first home run of the spring right before the regular season starts.
Last night, bottom of the first inning, he led off the first with a home run. Michael Saunders led off the bottom of the second with a home run. Nobody out, first and second. No score. We're in the bottom of the third inning. Now here's where this Blue Jays lineup gets very interesting. You get back to the top of the order, and of course Pillar is the leadoff man to start the season. Russell Martin's hitting behind him today, but more often than not, that's going to be Josh Donaldson in that spot.
And you would probably see at some point, if the first two guys get on like that, Kevin Pillar sacrificing himself, maybe trying to drag a bunt, push the ball to the right side of the infield, and if they get him at first base, worst case scenario, you've got a couple of runners in scoring position for the middle of the lineup.
Well, the American League East is loaded with deep lineups. And Kevin Pillar, he's not thinking about walking. He's not concerned about his on-base percentage. He's thinking about doing some damage, hitting the ball with a cap.
He was looking for a breaking ball there. O'Sullivan crossed him up and threw a fastball right down the middle.
Ground ball. Sign the ball quickly to second for one. No throw to first as Tolley does a good job getting down to break up the double play. Pillar busted it out of the box. Runners at the corners now, one down.
The designated hitter, number 55, le frappeur désigné, le numéro 55, Russell Martin.
Russell Martin gets a standing ovation from the hometown crowd, and I heard a great quote this morning talking about the atmosphere last night. Said there were more standing ovations than a presidential State of the Union address.
I think he's right on. Anybody showed their face on the field, they got a standing ovation.
Well, Russell deserves it probably more than anyone, as he grew up here in Montreal, and he's back for a second straight exhibition season. Base hit. Jumped on the first pitch, and that'll score the first run of the ball game. Darwin Marney jogs in 1-0 Blue Jays.
Well, there's another one of those standing ovation spots right there. Russell Martin is at his finest, I think, when he is going the other way, especially with runners in scoring positions.
That was a great stroke right there. Got his fastball, didn't try to do too much with it.
Watch him lay back on this ball. It's a fastball down and away. You try and pull that ball, you're going to be hitting into a double play. Stay right with it. Head stayed down, the barrel went right to the baseball.
Josh Donaldson. Donaldson's hitting third this afternoon. Pat, that base hit by Martin is interesting. It's a double play situation, but it appeared as though he had right field on his mind when he stepped into the box.
And that's why the swing was so fluid and so good. He knew what the pitcher was going to try and do for him. He was going to try and get him to roll over something away, but he wasn't going to have anything to do with that. What I like is watch the head. Big hole on the right side of the infield, and the head stayed down. Didn't try and pull it. Looked like he was trying to shoot the ball the other way.
The defense was set up slightly to pull, and Russell Martin crossed him up, picks up the RBI. 0-2 to Donaldson, one out. Up the middle. Roland Fields around third. Here comes the throw from Jackie Bradley Jr. It's cut off. Josh Donaldson might be as good a run producer with 2 strikes as there is in baseball.
Just look at the numbers. He led all of Major League Baseball in 2-strike RBIs last season. Stayed on another breaking ball. Didn't try to do a whole lot with that one either. Watch the swing. He doesn't commit too soon. Let that ball travel. Just like Russell Martin, he keeps the head down, hits it right back through the middle with 2 strikes, another RBI.
Donaldson picks up the RBI. He's done for the day. What a way to close out the spring. An RBI base hit. Andy Barnes takes over running at first base for Josh Donaldson. As we mentioned, you're going to see most of the regulars come out after their second at bat. Jose popped out to right field back in the first. Pat, we've seen this scenario play out all throughout last year's regular season. Number 8 hitter Barney gets on base. Number 9 hitter walks, turn the lineup over, 2-0 Blue Jays.
And you know there's multiple runs coming. When those first 2 guys get on base and you turn it over to the big boys, they're not playing for 1 run.
And oftentimes it was the second time through the batting order when they haven't seen a pitcher an awful lot. They'll use that first AB just to gather information. "28-year-old Sean O'Sullivan from El Cajon, California, trying to stop the bleeding here in the third.
He's already been sent down by the Boston Red Sox. He's not going to make their team out of spring training. One of the pitchers that they brought up just for this series to get some work in.
Bautista with a green lights out in front of it and pulls it foul. Blue Jays just don't give you any counts where you can really take a pitch off.
There's no such thing for the Blue Jays. Just a little bit too quick as Jose pulls it foul.
That one up. He got a pretty good pitch to hit. Rutledge calling for it. The second baseman out in the outfield makes the catch. Now there are 2 outs. Chris Colabello was a strikeout victim his first time up. Chris Colabello with 2 aboard and 2 down.
You know, I think that the approach that we saw from Russell Martin and Josh Donaldson would do a world of good right here for Chris Colabello. Get yourself jammed one time. That'll help you to stay back and keep that front shoulder closed just a little bit longer. So good last year in picking up 2 out RBIs.
Out in front, pulled off that pitch. It's so easy to say, and Colabello knows what he's got to do.
He told us as much down in Dunedin. But it's a feel. It's a feel as a hitter. And I think that's why he said, I want to get myself jammed. I want to jam so that'll slow me down just a little bit.
Again, he was out in front of that pitch, and you can see he's off balance a little bit. He's not really driving through that zone, and that's what he really wants to do. It's interesting, as good a year as he had last season, he hit just 200 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position.
Came up with some big base hits, game winners for the Jays.
Trying to get him to chase that breaking ball down and away. It's now 2-2. Blue Jays have scored 2 here in the 3rd inning. Taking advantage of 3 hits and a walk from Sean O'Sullivan. inside. That'll start the runners. It's a full count. Brian Goins is on deck if Colabello can keep the inning alive. You got to believe he's going to throw him a breaking ball. As Colabello had trouble with that breaking ball on the outside part of the plate.
And that's been the pattern to these guys when he gets 2 strikes. He walked Donaldson when he was ahead 1-2, threw him 3 straight breaking balls and walked him in the first inning.
Fastball foul out of play.
And that's okay. I think as a hitter, you can sit on the breaking ball right now because he doesn't throw the ball by you. You just foul off that fastball. That'll slow you down. It'll make you use your hands to get that timing down.
There go the runners. Breaking ball pulled on the ground. Dubon has it. Strong throw in time, but the Blue Jays are on the board. Russell Martin, back in his hometown of Montreal, comes up with a first RBI of the afternoon. A base hit on the first pitch. That's the 7th hit for Martin this spring. Gives the Blue Jays a 1-0 lead. Left-handed pitcher into the ballgame is Shane Dawson. He takes over for Scott Copeland.
Shane pitched in a couple of levels last season. Started in Lansing, finished up in Dunedin, went 15-6 over that time. He was a former 17th round draft pick by the Toronto Blue Jays back in 2012. The left-hander is a Canadian from Alberta, and the lefty gets a shot this afternoon against the Red Sox.
Casey Kochman takes over at first base defensively for Chris Colabello. That's Andy Burns. He entered the ball game as a pinch runner. He's now at third base. In the outfield, it's John Birdie in left coming in defensively. Roman Fields came into the ball game as a pinch runner. He takes over in center, and Ezequiel Pereira moves from left to right. We'll try to keep you up to speed, folks. It's coming fast and furious in this final spring training game.
It's the right move, I think, by the Blue Jays. Get your regulars out here in this environment, in this ballpark. Get in at bat, maybe 2, and then get them off their feet. Quick turnaround for the Blue Jays tomorrow.
David Ortiz taking a look at Shane Dawson. Dawson's 22 years old. That'd be a great thrill for him, getting a chance to pitch here in Montreal, and the first guy steps in. About a little Big Papi action.
Okay, a little left-on-left action right here.
Yeah, down to the bullpen they call, hey Shane, you're going to get a left-handed batter when you come in the game, so you probably have the upper hand.
That's the good news. Bad news, it's David Ortiz.
There's a line drive down in the corner. That's a fair ball. Carrera goes into the corner and pulls it out. Big Papi is headed for second. He'll get there with a stand-up double. 37 doubles a year ago for David Ortiz. And that'll be it for his final spring training.
How about another standing ovation as Big Papi? They love him here. And he acknowledges the fans.
What a career. David Ortiz with 503 career home runs. Last year he drove in 18 runs against the Blue Jays. Manny Ramirez struck out his first time up. Dawson's got the old-fashioned stirrups working. You can never go wrong wearing those socks.
It's like Jamie Moyer out there, doesn't he? Left-hander, got the high socks, a little change-up, doesn't throw too terribly hard, but great numbers last year.
For the season, 15-6.
Started in Lansing, ended up in high A ball Dunedin in the Florida State League. Hey, anytime you win 15 games and have a 3 earned run average, you're going to open some eyes.
Yeah, I don't care what league it is. Ball and a strike to the Red Sox first baseman. Good changeup. Fooled Ramirez.
Jamie Moyer. There it is right there, right?
Jamie Moyer didn't learn that pitch till he was about 30.
And he pitched forever after that. I'll tell you, there is a place in baseball. If you're left-handed and you can throw strikes, you can pitch for as long as you want.
Well, the Blue Jays were really looking for a left-hander in spring training with the injury to Aaron Loup. There's a pop-up that should stay in the ballpark. Birdie back makes the catch, tagging is the pinch runner Blake Swihart, and Birdie does a good job. Found Birdie and left, got the ball back in quickly.
Birdie is a natural infielder in the Blue Jays minor league system. They're trying to get him to be one of those super utility type of players. He's a good athlete. Using the bigger glove in the outfield, as you can see, the fingers are a little bit longer than the glove he uses when he's an infielder.
Well, if you're a minor leaguer and you look around the Blue Jays 25-man roster, you say, okay, well, third base, no, that's probably not a pretty good. No, shortstop, no, I don't think so. How about, well, they got Goins and Devin Travis. Maybe I should play a little outfield.
Enhance my ability to get to the big leagues.
Sandoval pops it straight up behind home plate, and he pops out on one pitch. So after Ortiz hit a leadoff double, Ramirez flies out to left, and Sandoval pops up. So another meeting. Coley, of course, catching Shane Dawson for the first time, wants to make sure that they're on the same page.
There was a little bit of a cross up there when Hanley Ramirez was at the plate. You got to figure that Shane's heart's going 100 miles an hour right now, huh?
You bet. Grew up in Drayton Valley, Alberta. Blue Jays drafted him out of Lethbridge Community College, 17th round in 2012. What a great opportunity for a young pitcher. Strike one never hurt. This is Brock Holt, the All-Star. He fouls it into the seats.
Well, you know what he's going to have to do? His changeup is his best pitch. You can see that right there. And he had no problem with the big right-handers for the Boston Red Sox. Ramirez and Sandoval. Can't be afraid to throw the changeup to the left-hander.
That's an interesting point. Oftentimes, lefties will stay away from that pitch.
But if it's your best pitch, why run from it? Use it.
That'll set up that changeup. Little heat inside. Jumps out of the way.
That's a purpose. You can see Josh Tolley setting up on the inner half, just kind of brushing back off the plate. Got a couple of options. You can go back in there or use that changeup here.
Two outs. Pinch runner at second is Blake Swihart, the catcher. He started last night's game behind the plate. End of the ball game as a pinch runner for David Ortiz. Two balls and two strikes. Fly ball into center. Roman Fields has good speed. He breezes over and makes the catch. Leadoff double and nothing further. Good inning for Shane Dawson.
Don't forget, catch all 81 Blue Jays home games in 4K with captivating detail and 4 times the resolution of HD. Every play comes to life. Sportsnet brings you Sportsnet 4K. Visit sportsnet.ca/4K for more information.
Thank you very much, Hazel. That's going to be an interesting addition to the Sportsnet channel. And we'll have it for you tomorrow, and it all starts down at Tampa Bay in St. Pete at Tropicana Field. Marcus Stroman will go to the mound against Chris Archer. That game begins at 4:05 Eastern Time. We'll be on the air at 3 o'clock. That's the pregame show. Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn will have it for you. Ryan Goins takes the first pitch, strike. 3 games on the schedule for Sunday. Blue Jays are in Tampa Bay. St. Louis travels to Pittsburgh to open up their season. How about that matchup? A couple of NL Central rivals. And then the final game of the day, Matt Harvey for the Mets against Edinson Volquez, a repeat of the World Series.
Did you see the comments about getting back at Noah Syndergaard, I guess, by the Royals?
Yeah, it was nonsense. And somebody said something and they put it out on social media, and all of a sudden Syndergaard is going to get thrown at and all that. Well, he's not hitting, first of all.
And he was trying to diffuse it also.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, you know, there's nothing about that. Just, you got to pitch inside, right?
Well, certainly with Alcides Escobar, he was hitting every first pitch he saw during the entire postseason, and he just threw one up over his head back to the screen. But anyway, I don't think if you're going to retaliate, you're going to make a proclamation before the season starts.
Yeah, you're not going to announce it, right?
Goins strikes out. That's the first out of the bottom of the 4th. Ball is bunted out in front of home. Hannigan tried to make a quick play and booted it off his glove. That should be a base hit. It's going to take an exceptional play by Hannigan, and he just couldn't come up with it.
Yeah, even if he did buck, I don't know if he was going to throw Carrera out because he got a good start out of the box. Watch the momentum going towards first base. He swipes at it. If he catches it, he's got to turn all the way around and then throw accurately over to first base. As you see that ball go right off of his glove, and Carrera can run. Probably would have beaten it out.
Well, that's such a valuable tool. Drop that bunt down. It keeps the defense honest. They have to shorten up on you. Darwin Barney scored the first run of the game. He had a leadoff single in the 3rd, came around to score on the Russell Martin base hit. This is a good hit and run combination as well. Inside strike.
Red Sox thought something was up on that first pitch they threw over there to Carrera. He was leaning.
Took a half step towards second. A little easier getting back there.
Yeah, they probably saw, the Blue Jays saw him leaning on that first one, and they threw over there. They might have taken it off if they had something on. You can see Ryan Hannigan thinks something might be up.
There goes the runner. Hit and run is on, and that throw is perfect from Hannigan. Right on the money. If it was a hit and run, they threw a perfect pitch to Barney because he just couldn't offer at it.
Yeah, tied him up on that fastball in the inner half. The Red Sox knew something was up. Darwin could not make contact, and Carrera's an easy out at second base. Ryan Hannigan is an excellent catcher, and he will probably back up for the Boston Red Sox this season.
Ground ball. That's the 3rd out of the inning. Tim Rays will join us in the booth when we come back to Montreal. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn. A great weekend here in Montreal, and a lot of former Expo fans have had the pleasure of seeing some of the great players, and we're pleased to be joined now by one of those great players from the Montreal Expos, The Rock, Tim Raines. You had a good weekend, Rock?
I enjoyed every minute of it. I mean, last night was electric, man. It almost made me feel like I can go out there and do it again, but I know I can't. No, I can't, but it had that sort of atmosphere.
Then again today they honored the late Jim Fanning, who was the first GM of the Expos. What was it about the Expos and their ability to draft and develop players that made your organization so deep with talent?
Well, I think we went out and got Pacific type of players. I mean, you know, we drafted guys with speed. We drafted guys with athletic ability, and we sort of taught guys how to play the game. You know, when you get athletes sometimes, I mean, athletes as baseball players, you know, they can turn out to be great players, and that's what it made it so much fun.
Well, Ryan Hannigan threw out a base runner, and now he leads off the inning with a home run and put the Red Sox on the board.
Rock, I played against you in 1978 down in the Florida State League. You were a second baseman then, but you turned into a very good outfielder. Was there one person within that organization for the Montreal Expos who were instrumental in getting you to the big leagues?
Well, I would say Mel Didier had a lot to do with it. I mean, when I came over, I was a right-handed hitter that played shortstop in high school, and you know, I ended up playing second all through the minor leagues, but they made me a switch hitter right out of the chute. I mean, first time I switch hit was rookie ball, so that was a situation where I was learning how to be a left-handed hitter in the Gulf Coast League, and it all worked out. I mean, I didn't know how it was going to work out because I never hit left-handed before in a real game, and it turned out okay.
And now, Tim, you're in the minor leagues with the Blue Jays, and give me your feelings about how a player would react to you if you went up and said, now listen, we're going to make you a switch hitter today. I don't think it'd be very well received.
Well, we tried to do that one player down there. It didn't work out too well. So it cost him like a whole year of trying to learn how to hit, trying to switch hit. And
how long did it take you before you became comfortable?
Well, unfortunately, I hit 280 in my first year, so it was one of those situations where it kind of worked out. It was a lot more natural for me. Somehow, I don't know. Maybe it's because when I was a kid, I used to always kind of swing the bat left-handed.
Because of those legs, right?
The legs had something to do with it, too.
You could fly, man.
Was there ever a time where you said, I can't do this, and I'm going to give it up?
No, because, you know, I never really had a bad year swinging the bat, so it made it a lot more comfortable because, you know, I go up to the plate left-handed against guys throwing, you know, 90-plus, and I wasn't afraid of it. So it made it a lot easier because on the right side I hit just against lefty, so it worked out good.
Last night we had a chance to visit with the Hall of Famer, your teammate Pedro Martinez, and you've got to be thinking about that possibility as well. Your numbers suggest you should be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, you know, this is the first year that I've actually, after the voting, I've actually felt like I'm thinking about a lot more past that. You know, before I would always check the numbers, and after checking that, I'd forget about it and I wait till the next year. So this year, especially only having one more year left, so it's my last chance, and I'm 23 votes short, and hopefully I can get those 23 this year.
2,600 hits, 800 stolen bases. I would suggest you should be in the Hall of Fame.
No, thank you. Thanks a lot.
70% vote you got this past year, just about. So it was 23 votes short?
23 votes short, so.
Do you know that you're one of 5 outfielders to play in 4 decades? What does that mean?
Did not know that.
Yes, in the history of baseball, I think it's only been done like 17 times and only 5 outfielders. Ken Griffey Jr. was one, Ted Williams was one. We're talking Hall of Fame type of players, and you're another one.
Well, you know, a lot of the stats that are coming out right now, I didn't have any idea of the things that I did when I played the game, but I think that's what made me a little unique, because I didn't really care that much about stats. I mean, I go out and I steal bases, and I felt like I stole bases because it helped us win ball games. It wasn't because, you know, I wanted to lead the league in stolen bases, or I wanted to have 100, or I wanted to be the best of all time. I felt like every time I suited up, I walked out on the field, I was going to be that catalyst for the team, and hopefully, the things that I did on the field helped us win a lot of games.
You started here in Montreal and had a great run with the Expos, and you went to Chicago, you went to New York, you ended up with an opportunity to play with your son in Baltimore in 2001. That had to be a special year for both of you.
I'll tell you, that was probably the most special thing that had ever happened in my career. We're talking about, winning a couple world championships and, the all-star games and all the accolades and all that, but, being able to play beside your son in a major league ball game is something really special.
Could you talk a little bit about what baseball was like here in Montreal back in the day when you guys had those super teams, especially in 1981 when you guys were in the playoffs?
You sort of had this type of atmosphere. It wasn't 50,000 people here, but it was 35 to 40,000 every night. And like I said last night, they inspired me to do the things that I did on the field. I mean, they every time I got on base, they knew something was going to happen, and they kind of started making some noise. And every time I steal a base, they make more noise. And that kind of got exciting for me, because I love football a lot more than I love baseball when I was a kid. And, obviously you get more football fans than you do baseball fans as a kid, but it kind of brought back those type of memories, and I just kind of carried it over through baseball.
You had a pretty good mentor when you got here to Montreal. Big outfielder, played center field, kind of took you under his wing. It's Andre Dawson, and you both came from Florida, but how did that help you make the adjustment to the major leagues? Because you hadn't played an awful lot of baseball, as you mentioned.
Well, he was like a big brother to me. I mean, the first couple of years I kind of struggled a little bit with some growing pains. Being a young guy coming here to Montreal, it gets kind of tough for young guys here. But the nightlife is what I'm talking about. But, when I realized that I kind of need some help, I need some guidance, I kind of went to him. And, Andre was always that guy that was kind of quiet. He was a quiet leader, and he came to play every night, even though he had some ailments and everything. I tell you, that guy, I think he needed a wheelchair to leave the park and get to the park. But once the game started, I mean, the guy played like there was nothing wrong with him. But, he took me under his wing, and he kind of showed me how to play the game. He didn't have to tell me how to play. He showed me how to play, and he spoke with, the way the attitude, coming to play every day in and day out. And I kind of followed suit, and I think that kind of got me on the right track.
And now you get to pass that knowledge on to some of the young kids in the Blue Jays organization. Tell the fans at home what you're doing with the Jays and some of the players that they might see in a couple of years.
Well, we've got a few players. I mean, we made a lot of moves last year, but we got rid of a lot of pitchers. But we still have some players that had a chance to be some great players. You see, like Roman Fields. You saw him steal a base last night, and Dwight Smith Jr. has a chance to be a big-time, big league player. Anthony Alford is a kid that was a football player and that turned baseball, and his talent is off the chart. I mean, kind of remind me a little bit of myself, coming out of high school, and he's got a chance to be a really good player. And there's a few other guys, I can go on and on with a few of them, but those guys come to mind quite frequently.
Are they aware of who Tim Raines is? Do they understand the career that you had when you try to explain them things?
I think some of them do. I think the kids these days don't really follow the game as much as, we did when we were kids. I mean, baseball and following players was something that I did as a kid, even though I liked football better, but I followed players. And I follow the history of the game. I think, with social media and everything, I think a lot of players don't really follow the history of the game like we did in the past. And I think now they're starting to Google everything now. So I tell them about some of the things I did, and they have to Google it to believe me. But
he didn't steal 80 bases.
He didn't steal 800.
Right.
How many games did they play? 200?
And then they were amazed. I'm like, you're a little guy. How did you do all that stuff? But I think, the longer they play, I think the more they get more involved.
You tell me a great story about, as a high school kid, going to see a major league game in spring training and how you felt like there's no way in the world you'd be able to compete with those major league players.
Well, when you're young and you see the guys, you see the talent they have at the major league level, it's kind of like intimidating, especially, playing at the high school level. You see guys throw, 72, 73, and you go up there and you see a major league pitcher throwing like 95 miles an hour with breaking balls that you don't think that you can come close to hitting. And it's intimidating. And I remember, seeing Dawson and Carter and all those guys play as a senior in high school. And, 2.5 years later, I was playing with these guys. So it was kind of weird, but it was a great experience.
You were a 5th-round draft pick in 1977 for the Montreal Expos. Bill Gullickson was number 1. Scott Sanderson was 3. You were number 5. You talk about being a football player in high school. What was it about baseball that made you want to sign and go ahead and start your baseball career?
Well, my father played semi-pro baseball. I mean, he had 6 kids, and he didn't have an opportunity to play professional baseball. And he was a hell of a ball player, and I got an opportunity to see him play as a youngster, and he reminded me so much of the way I played, but he never got that opportunity to play. So, knowing that, and I kind of went to baseball because he never got that opportunity. So it kind of compelled me to go towards baseball, and I wasn't sure if I could do it, but the more I played and the better I got, I started thinking about him, and I said, one day, Dad, I'm going to be in the big leagues for you, and that opportunity that you didn't get, I'm going to do it for you.
And then you got to share a big league field with your son. That's pretty special. And last night was pretty special for you as well, as you were introduced to the crowd here in Montreal, and you talk about how they appreciate the history of the Expos. It was on display last night.
Yeah, it brought back so many memories. I mean, for 12 years I came here, and the crowd wasn't as big, but it sounded like that every night that I came out and played here in the stadium. And I remember coming back in 01, being away almost 11 years. I came back, and my first at-bat, I had a standing ovation for like 20 minutes, a whole at-bat, and everybody was getting upset with me. They were telling, please tell the fans to sit down. I'm like, no, I love this. I mean, I'm not going to tell these guys to sit down. But it's always been inspirational to come here and listen to the crowd, enjoy the game.
They honored Jim Fanning before the ball game today, and what he did and what he meant to this organization. What was it about him when he managed that team into the playoffs?
Well, we had some great players, and he was a guy that kind of like let us played our game. I mean, a lot of guys didn't really know that much about him because, he hadn't managed before, and he was a GM. So, him coming around and letting us do our thing, because he knew about just about all the guys that came through the organization. So, and he called me Timmy Raines. He used to say, run, Timmy, run. And every chance I got, I did it for him. So, and he was an inspiration to me as well.
You had some great teammates, but of course the late Hall of Famer Gary Carter was an iconic player around baseball, not only here, but of course in New York with the Mets. But he was a guy that really liked the center stage, but he lived up to everything he talked about.
He sure did. I mean, you always seen that smile on his face every time the camera would be on him. He would always have that big smile. But, behind all that, I mean, this guy came to play every single night. And like I said, him and Dawson kind of taught me the way to play the game. I mean, they came out every day, they played hard, and when every game was over, those guys could always look in the mirror and say, I gave it everything I had that night. And it kind of showed me the ropes, and I thank God that I got a chance to play with both of them.
Well, Tim, we want to thank you for your time, and we're going to keep an eye on you and watch this next round of voting for the Hall of Fame. And our thoughts are with you, and we're going to make sure we let everybody aware that they need to get out there and promote Tim Raines for the Hall of Fame.
Well, thanks a lot, and I appreciate all the help that I can get.
You bet. That's Tim Raines. He was the Rock here in Montreal for a long time, and it was a great weekend. And Tim Raines, a big part of this weekend celebration. The Red Sox, they have jumped on the Blue Jays here in the top of the 5th, and they got a merry-go-round going on right now. Dawson out of the game, and Chad Jenkins came into the ball game, and the Red Sox have put up a 4 spot here in the top of the 5th.
They've already had one pitching change, and right now everything has seemed to find a wholesale changes for the Blue Jays. This is Travis Shaw, who has been a thorn in the side of the Blue Jays. High pitch from Jenkins, and it finds its way into the outfield.
Fly ball to left field, and coming in to score the 5th run of the inning, Sandoval hits a sacrifice fly.
Well, I love talking to some of those guys who played on those Expo teams, because from afar, I don't know if you had a chance to play against them, but from afar, came up through the minor league system playing against all of those guys, and they were some great athletes. And Rock was right. As you see Dustin Antolin start to warm up, they were looking for a certain type of player, an athlete, that they turned into baseball players. And by the time they got to the major leagues, you could see the talent just dripping from them.
Yeah, and they had good athletes all over the diamond. They had, of course, Gary Carter began his career as a shortstop, became a Hall of Fame catcher. Jim Fanning was the first general manager of the Expos, and he was wise enough to make a big trade early on to bring Le Grand Orange here from Houston, Rusty Staub. That's the 3rd out of the inning, and the Red Sox have put up 5 runs in their half of the 5th. They've taken a 5-2 lead. Have departed this ball game, and we're pleased to be joined now by the second baseman of the Toronto Blue Jays, Ryan Goins. And Ryan, are you ready for the regular season to begin?
Oh yeah, it was nice to come here and kind of get a game feel, again, different.
Welcome back to Montreal. It's been a busy weekend for Russell Martin. Earlier today, he took part in a pregame ceremony holding the original 1976 Olympic torch, promoting the Quebec Games. This is a markedly different trip for Martin. He told me after last night's game he was much more relaxed and enjoyed the atmosphere more than, say, last season. And that's because he really didn't know what to expect last year. Playing in Montreal, a Canadian on Canada's team for the very first time. It was such an emotional weekend. Buck talked earlier about his father playing the national anthem. He was bombarded with media requests, and of course there were obligations with family and friends. And while he still had some responsibilities this time around, Russell said it's been far less stressful for him, and he's really been able, Buck, to really soak in all the festivities and enjoy the weekend.
It has been a great weekend for the entire ball club, and you can bet Russell Martin enjoyed it a little bit more this time around, as he was a little bit more aware of what might happen. This new pitcher for the Blue Jays is Dustin Antolin.
Minor league numbers there for Antolin. Blue Jays have brought up a whole host of young arms coming up from the minor league system, and they'll get a chance to show off their stuff here the last couple of innings.
Sandy Leon is batting for the catcher Ryan Hannigan. Hannigan homered back in that 5th inning last time up, so they had a bat around inning. Antolin throws strike 2. It's 0-2. Leon came into the game last night, made a couple of outstanding throws behind the plate, and he threw out Roman Fields at third base on a terrific throw and just missed throwing him out at second in that same trip around the bases. Just off the outside corner.
There's David Price, the new ace of the Boston Red Sox. I think that was something that they missed last year. They did not have a true #1 starter as Leon goes down. After they lost John Lester to free agency, they were quick to go out and sign David Price.
They sure were, and the new general manager of the Boston Red Sox, Dave Dombrowski, had Price in Detroit. So he said, you know what, I'm going to trade David Price to Toronto, and then I'm going to leave Detroit, get a new job, and see if I can't land David Price. And he did.
It only cost him over $200 million, but that's okay, right?
You got to pay extra for those impact pitchers. Alan Craig takes the first pitch, strike. Dustin Antolin is from Hawaii. He is 26 years old. He was an 11th round pick out of high school in Hawaii in 2008. He spent 8 seasons in the Blue Jays system. Pitched last year in the Eastern League, his 3rd straight season in the Eastern League. He's just 26 years old, and when you look at his career, he's been a very serviceable minor league pitcher and a steady influence in that minor league system.
Just looking at his raw numbers that we flashed on the board, his AA numbers last year, looks like he throws strikes.
There's another strike to Alan Craig. Casey Kochman flips to Antolin, 2 down.
Got to be able to do that. You have to be able to control the baseball. You want to move up. Looks like he's got a nice little sinker. 55 strikeouts, just 18 walks last season. And then we talked about it last night. Some of the young pitchers, especially with the young pitchers coming up here for this 2-game series, they had a chance to open some eyes. Not necessarily 40-man roster type of players, because those guys who were in spring training have already been sent down to the minor leagues. It's other players in the organization.
Well, you know what it does? It gives the coaches an opportunity to put eyes on guys they read about. They'll see the stats from the minor league organization. They'll say, okay, what's this guy? Who's this guy? And then they'll see his size, they'll see his delivery, and it'll make a different impression than just raw numbers.
Probably more so this year than in years past for the Blue Jays, because they've got a new front office, basically. New president, new general manager, who are watching these same players for the first time.
They have a minor league director of player development named Gil Kim, who played baseball at Vanderbilt University, and he's in his first season as well. And you mentioned we had Rock Raines in the booth here with us, and he mentioned a name that's still with the Blue Jays, Mel Didier, who has had an impact on so many players' careers. He's also impacted a lot of people in the front office. Good inning for Dustin Antolin. 3 up, 3 down, a couple of strikeouts.
Josh Donaldson MVP bobblehead presented by Pizza Nova takes place Sunday, April 24th, when the Blue Jays host the Oakland Athletics at 107. First 20,000 receive a Josh Donaldson MVP bobblehead. Check out BlueJays.com for your tickets.
Thank you very much, Hazel May. That'll be interesting to see what kind of hairstyle that bobblehead has.
It changes all the time.
It changes all the time. I tell you what, he is something else. What a personality Josh Donaldson is. Not only is he a great player, but he's got a lot of life.
He was in charge of the tunes on the team bus back to the hotel last night.
I think he knew we were on the bus because he played a lot of oldies.
And I mean oldies.
This is Andy Burns. He came into the ball game in the third inning as a pinch runner. Burns is going to be an important part of this organization, and don't be surprised if you see him at some point this season. Blue Jays need an extra player. He's a versatile player.
His bat can play. You watch him take batting practice, and you see how the ball comes off of his bat, and he'll be a big leaguer. I'm assuming, I haven't heard, but I'm assuming he's going to start the season in Buffalo in AAA.
Yeah, I think he's going to be in Buffalo and be part of that team there in AAA, playing for Gary Allenson. Andy Burns is now 25 years old. He grew up in Colorado, played college at the University of Arizona. Got drafted by the Blue Jays in the 11th round in 2011. This will be his 6th season in the minor leagues. About time for everything to come together. He has played 499 games. He's got a .272 career minor league average, but he hit .293 last year in AAA Buffalo in 126 games. So he'll be in AAA once again. But he's knocking on the door.
Just a 2-hour car ride from Toronto. So
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
John Birdie playing in left field. This will be Birdie's 6th season in the minor league system, and he's been a guy that has made his way up through the ranks. Last year he finished up in Buffalo, played 40 games in AAA. Primarily an infielder. He started out as a second baseman, but he has played in the outfield. He's played center and left in the minor leagues.
this is Carl Willis, the pitching coach for the Boston Red Sox. Spotted something from Sean O'Sullivan and pushing him now. We are in the 6th inning. He's done a good job.
Sean O'Sullivan is 28 years old. As Pat mentioned, he has already been sent back to the minor leagues, and he spent part of 6 seasons in the major leagues. So he's been around. He understands he's got to listen to his body, and Carl Willis just wanted to check in on him, make sure he was okay. 5-2 Boston. They won last night's game 4-2 in 10 innings. Red Sox bullpen just starting to loosen up again. That's Anthony Barbero, a right-hander. The Red Sox don't play until Monday. They will play in Cleveland on Monday, and you got a good pitching matchup there. David Price will open up for Boston against Corey Kluber in their season opener.
Off day tomorrow. Then that home opener that you were talking about, which will be on Sportsnet 1, and then an off day on Tuesday before they finish up that series, and then come to Toronto for the Blue Jays home opening weekend.
Birdie draws the walk from Sean O'Sullivan. David Price will make his 4th straight opening day start and 5th opening day start of his career. Price will become the first Red Sox pitcher to make his debut with the Red Sox on opening day, first since David Wells. Wells did that in 2005, and the only other pitcher was Pedro Martinez, who did it in '98. That's a double play as Burns drifted too far on that little soft liner off the bat of Casey Kotchman.
If there was replay, that would probably be a play that John Gibbons would want to take a look at. Looked like a knuckleball, if you will, out to second base. That's Jeff Rutledge. Handcuffs him just a little bit. You see it going away from him, and then the shovel over to second base and the stretch by the shortstop Dubon. But that might be a play, if they had replay, that they want to take a look at, because it looked like he got back.
Yeah, it sure did. And unfortunately, Burns is called out. That'll be one that John Gibbons would probably review during the regular season. Giovanni Meyer took over at shortstop defensively. This is his first at-bat of the afternoon. Popped up. That's playable. behind third. Sandoval calls for it. He's there, and the inning is over. Blue Jays get a couple of walks, hit a line drive, and that's it. We'll go to the 7th. Boston with a 5-2 lead. Tonight's game, PlayStation provided us with a prediction of who they thought the Blue Jays player of the game would be, and this afternoon they picked Chris Colabello.
Well, last game of spring training, you're just going to get a couple of at-bats, and then you're going to be out of the ball game. Predictor went with 3 at-bats, where Chris only had 2. A couple of hits, a home run, 2 RBIs. Colabello actually went 0 for 2. As Chris struck out and grounded out. This is a fun thing. We'll be doing it all season long. The predictor, good for Chris Colabello this afternoon.
We do that ourselves up in the booth from time to time to predict who's going to have the hot bat, the pick to click, if you will. New left fielder for the Blue Jays is Dwight Smith Jr. He's going to start the season in Double-A. He'll go from Montreal to New Hampshire. There'll be a bunch of the minor leaguers heading in different directions. Some will fly in Buffalo. They got to work out in Buffalo the next couple of days before they open up the season. That's always nice. You go from Dunedin, Florida to practicing in Buffalo.
No fun.
A little cold.
You know who it's a logistics nightmare for right now?
Equipment men.
And the traveling secretary.
Yeah.
There was a message on the board in the Blue Jays clubhouse today. If you're not going back with the team, get all your stuff and we'll get you to wherever you're going somehow.
Check swing tapped foul by Josh Rutledge. Rutledge had an RBI double in that 5-run 5th inning. Took over for Dustin Pedroia. We got a chance to visit with Pedroia early on this morning in the Red Sox clubhouse. We were talking with John Farrell and Brian Butterfield, and Pedroia came over and says, man, you got to adjust those times on the buses. He said, they're in between. One's too early, the other one's too late. I came out here in a cab. Lady wouldn't let me in. She goes, who are you? He goes, I'm the guy that's going to get all the hits today. What a personality he is. He's terrific.
Spoken just like Dustin Pedroia.
He's terrific.
They had no idea who he was. I guess he looked like a ball player to them, but they had to ask anyway. I'm the guy who's going to get all the hits today. Mind you, it's like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah, he's ready to go. Got his uni on. He's probably worked out a couple of times and wants to play some baseball. You know, that's the beauty of our job, Pat. I wish we could share it more often than we do, but we get a chance to see the players and get them before the game when they're most relaxed, just talking about different things. And Dustin Pedroia is from near my hometown, Woodland, California. I'm from Sacramento, went to Elk Grove High School, and we always talk about anybody that's from that area. There's a ground ball poked toward first. Kotzman will step on the bag, but I went over and saw David Ortiz and Dustin Pedroia at the start of the series. I said, hey, there's a young kid I want you to meet. One of the Blue Jays young players, that was Rowdy Tellez. And Rowdy's from my high school, Elk Grove High School in California. Dustin says, yeah, man, he's from Elk Grove. Yeah, I'll talk to him. I mean, he's just terrific. And David Ortiz did the same thing. And then I introduced Rowdy to David, and Rowdy didn't have much to say, just kind of stared at him.
I was going to say, the cat got his tongue.
Yep.
When he talked to him. Ball players haven't changed.
That was my idol. He said, that's still my idol, Big Papi. And I got a chance to meet him. It was pretty cool.
Ball players haven't changed. They reach out to some of the young kids because they remember what it was like when they were first coming up.
You always remember those guys that reached out. Tim Raines was talking about Andre Dawson now. The more veteran Dawson took him under his wing here in Montreal.
And then you're more than happy to do that when you're lucky enough to play in the big leagues for a couple of years and you establish yourself and you're a good player. Then you see young kids coming up, they might remind you of yourself.
Absolutely.
You know,
you remember Mark Burley a couple years ago bought all the young kids suits in New York. Got them a suit, you know, they travel with suits from time to time, and he took a bunch of the youngsters over and bought them suits. I know there's some veteran players on this trip that have taken care of the kids, giving them a few bucks for extra money for dinner here in Montreal.
Talking to some of the young kids when we first landed here the other night, and I said, hey, did you get your meal money? Did you get your big league meal money? What was that like? And their eyes lit up. They got this whole wad of money for coming up here for a couple of days, and it's a special time.
Well, it's a good experience for the players because they see what the major leagues looks like in this atmosphere here in Montreal. Pete Walker, the pitching coach, looks like he's going to make another pitching change here. Dustin Antolin had a good first inning, a couple of strikeouts in his first inning. He'll leave this ball game, and we'll have another pitcher when we come back to Montreal. Want some real baseball? We'll have it for you tomorrow as the Blue Jays will launch the 2016 season. They'll do it against the Tampa Bay Rays in St. Petersburg. Will be at Tropicana Field, and it all starts at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Pacific Time. That's the pregame show with Jamie Gamble and Griggs on. We'll follow that at 4 o'clock with the ball game, and there'll be a lot to talk about. It'll be a packed house at Tropicana Field. Marcus Stroman will go up against Chris Archer, two of the young best pitchers in all of baseball.
And best friends, too. Really respect each other, who they are, so that should be a dandy. But before we get there, we got to finish this one. This is Daniel Schlereth. He's been in the big leagues. He has seen some time in his major league career. He's pitched in 94 games. I mean, he was with the Tigers at some point, 5-6 with a 435 earned run average. He is our 5th pitcher of the afternoon. Left-hander, doesn't throw hard, moves the ball around.
Daniel Schlereth's father is a name you will recognize. Mark Schlereth ESPN analyst and NFLer for 12 seasons, primarily with the Denver Broncos, played in Washington as well, and Daniel's been around big-time sports for a long time. Daniel was born in Alaska and grew up in Denver, played college ball at the University of Arizona. Made his debut with the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2009, spent parts of 3 seasons with the Tigers. Hasn't been in the big league since 2012. First round pick in 2008 of the Diamondbacks.
Wasn't he involved in a trade to Detroit, one of those big 3-way trades?
Big Swihart at the plate as Dubon takes off and steals at second base. And you're right, he was in that big 3-team trade: Arizona, Detroit, and the Yankees. That was the Max Scherzer deal, and they all ended up. Ian Kennedy went from the Yankees to the Diamondbacks. Phil Koch and Austin Jackson went to the Tigers. Daniel Schlereth went from Arizona to Detroit, and Max Scherzer, along with Schlereth, went to the Tigers. That's a big deal.
And the general manager for the Tigers at that time,
Dave Dombrowski,
is right here in town.
Ball and a strike, up and in. That's ball 2. Schlereth has some postseason experience back in 2011 with the Tigers. That's fouled straight back. Pat, we have seen this phenomenon in baseball the last year or so, where pitchers are starting to incorporate a bit of a hesitation in their delivery. Hitters are so savvy now as timing up pitchers, and Schlereth's got a little bit of a hesitation in his delivery as well. Kind of a toe tap, if you will.
Yeah, and the only reason that they are doing it, trying to throw off the batter's timing. There's so much video out there, and there's so much information. Just like pitchers have timing, hitters have timing when they're at their plate, and they're trying to time up the windup and how long it takes for the ball to get to home plate, with another stolen base attempt.
They got a chance for a double play, quickly shoveling to second in time. What a play by Darwin Barney. Dubon had taken off for third, and he was sliding into third when the ball was popped up and couldn't get back in time. An inning-ending double play turned by the Gold Glover at second. Barney knows he's got to hurry this toss just in time. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. A couple of good games here in Montreal, and the fans have turned out 53,420 here this afternoon. So the attendance over the weekend, over 100,000 have turned out to support the Blue Jays and Red Sox here in this weekend series.
Another successful weekend for the city of Montreal.
David Adams will face Tommy Lane. Lane pitched last season for the Red Sox.
And pitched really well as one of the lefties out of the bullpen for him. Set career highs in appearances with 64. Its strikeouts, he had 45. He doesn't throw hard, but he's got that herky-jerky motion. We were just talking last inning about throwing off the timing of the batters. He does a good job of that. Watch this movement. Fastball, breaking ball. Lefties only hit 170 off of him. Their slugging percentage against him, so he was very successful.
David Adams had some time in the major leagues with the Yankees in 2013. This spring he appeared in 19 games for the Blue Jays. Primarily a third baseman, he lines it right to the shortstop. Hit it hard. Darwin Barney, he's going to be the extra infielder on the Blue Jays roster, and he's a good player. Blue Jays picked him up at the end of the season. They weren't really sure how Troy Tulowitzki was going to bounce back after he injured that shoulder in New York, and they knew they could rely on Barney to catch it.
Remember that day in New York when Pilar and Tulowitzki collided? It looked harmless enough, but Troy went down and was out of the game, and Blue Jays were scrambling around looking for a veteran, a guy who had played in the major leagues and who had had success, and they were looking for a guy who could just catch the ball. Well, Darwin Barney could catch the ball. And he fit right in with this team, and they didn't waste any time re-signing him this winter.
Yeah, they brought him right back, and that's a testimony to the atmosphere the Blue Jays created in the second half of the season, because he didn't know much about the Blue Jays until he arrived. And then he saw them through the postseason and said, you know what, I want to be part of that.
And it didn't take long, did it? To come right back here. He's had a good spring.
In the bottom of the seventh inning, Blue Jays have scored in one inning. Same for the Red Sox. Blue Jays scored 2 in the third. Red Sox scored their 5 runs all in the 5th inning. These games are tough. Everybody's thinking about tomorrow in the Blue Jays case, and the Red Sox have an off day tomorrow in Cleveland, and then they'll play Monday afternoon against the Indians. But everybody's looking ahead.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to do. You got to get through this game right here. The one thing that you want to avoid in these kind of games is injury. Arizona Diamondbacks got some horrible news yesterday.
How about that? A.J. Pollock, their outstanding center fielder, with a head-first slide. It looked like a very innocent slide. He slid across home plate. There was no collision with the catcher, and then as he braced himself with his right arm, he collapsed in a heap in pain, and they found out that he broke his elbow, and it's not the first time he's done that.
Yeah, he had some problems with that right elbow in spring training, and they had shut him down, and he had just come back.
You know, nobody wants to talk about it, but you can bet GMs, managers, and coaches are all holding their collective breaths this time of the year, just saying, okay, just get us to the opening day.
Come on.
And knock on wood, the Blue Jays have had relative health.
Yes.
Here in Luke, the one guy that has been on the shelf all spring with a bad elbow. This is Mike Reeves, a young catcher. He too is from Peterborough, Ontario. Greg and Karen Reeves are here to see their son play here in Montreal. You can bet it's a special moment to see Mike come up and get an at-bat here in Montreal. He is from Peterborough, as we mentioned. He played college baseball at Florida Gulf Coast in Fort Myers, Florida. Pretty special moment. Finished up the season a year ago in Dunedin. You know, these are moments that players will never forget, and who knows, you know, these young players might never get close to the major leagues, but an opportunity to come here in Montreal, fly on the charter with the big leaguers and sit in this atmosphere.
And your mom and dad could come over to watch. Now do something special.
He is.
Oh my goodness. Who's more nervous?
Mom and dad.
Or mom and dad?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, 0-2. Got on and missed. That ball gets away. Reeves is going to be out as first base was occupied. The base runner will go to second. Urania. Reeves is out because the base was occupied by the runner Urania, and he advances to second. So that's the second out. Richard Urania came in the ballgame as a pinch runner for Darwin Barney. Mike Reeves gets an at-bat, strikes out. But he gets an at-bat in Montreal in the Big O.
In front of 50,000 people and mom and dad.
Roman Fields chops it towards second. He can run. Ball gets away from the first baseman, and Urania comes in to score. A routine ground ball, and the speed of Fields forced the bad play at first. Shaw into first, had the ball go off his glove. It leads to a Blue Jays run.
You know, it's such a tough play for a first baseman, only because you're so close to that second baseman, and he fires it to you. You don't have a lot of time to react, and if it's offline like it was right there from Rutledge, Shaw, who is going to play third base for the Boston Red Sox this year, can't get the glove up quick enough, and the Blue Jays have their third run.
Fields ends up at second on the air, and this is Rowdy Tellez. We mentioned Tellez earlier, being from Elk Grove, California, where I went to high school, and he got a chance to meet his idol David Ortiz this weekend. Last season he had 14 home runs and drove in 77. It was interesting. We were talking with Brian Butterfield and John Farrell, and Butterfield said, "Hey, I saw that kid swing the bat. Looks pretty good."
He doesn't miss anything, does he? I mean,
he didn't even know who he was, but he recognized some talent.
Yeah, he's not even on his team. He hasn't been in the organization for a few years, but he recognized the size and strength. And he hit a ball good yesterday. Rowdy did to center field. He flew out, and that was the at-bat that Butter was talking about. Baseball people recognize talent.
Scores, and Rowdy Tellez picks up an RBI with an opposite field double. Lefty on lefty. That'll open up some eyes.
Well, if he was impressed with his fly ball and strikeout last night, he's going to be really impressed with this at bat against a major leaguer in Tommy Lane. Lane tough on left-handers. We told you that, how tough he was. A 170 slugging percentage last year, giving up to the lefties. Watch Rowdy stay on this ball. Down and away. Don't pull off, stay on it, head straight down, and he slices it down the left field line for an RBI double.
Good piece of hitting, picks up an RBI, makes it a one-run game. Tommy Lane will exit here. John Farrell out to make a pitching change, and we'll have a new pitcher when we come back. The Blue Jays cut into the lead. It's 5-4 Boston.
East Division Championship pennant is presented by Honda. On Sunday, April 10th, the first 20,000 fans will receive a 2015 AL East Division Championship pennant. It's the Blue Jays and the Red Sox that afternoon at 1:07 p.m. Visit BlueJays.com for tickets.
Thank you very much, Hazel. That'll be the series finale against the Boston Red Sox, as they will be the home opener opponent for the Blue Jays. Sunday, that'll be Steven Wright against Aaron Sanchez. That's the pitching matchup in that series finale. Wright, the knuckleballer, pitched last night and had a good night. Struck out 8.
Started off slowly. Gave up a home run in the first, a home run in the second, then was outstanding. Started throwing some more curveballs in that game.
Anthony Vivaro to Andy Burns in his 1-run game.
Non-roster invitee by the Boston Red Sox to spring training. Vivaro, just 9 games last year because of an injury. Had some elbow problems, some surgery on that right arm last season.
He pitched last in the majors for the Atlanta Braves back in 2013. Check that. He got into 9 games with Boston. But you're right, he's been coming back from injury. Foul tip held on to by the catcher. The strikeout ends the inning, but the Blue Jays make it a 1-run game. They score a couple in the bottom of the 7th. by Scott Sturfield Grass Seed with Water Smart Plus coating. Grows grass quicker and bigger, guaranteed.
Last couple of days, the fans here in Montreal wanted to see their hometown guy do something, and Russell Martin obliges with a base hit into right field. That's going to be our play of the day. Russell Martin's been getting standing ovations over the last 2 days. Finally gave him something to cheer about with that base hit.
Mike Reeves came in as a pinch hitter, takes over behind the plate. David Adams is now playing at second base. That is Richard Urania at short. This is Travis Shaw. He did not start the game. But Shaw picked up a single in the fifth. Base hit. He can hit. He hit his way into an everyday role at third base for Boston. Had a great spring.
You know, you could see that last year when you watched the Boston Red Sox. It just seemed like Travis Shaw, who grew up around the game. Jeff Shaw is his father, who played for the Montreal Expos, a longtime major leaguer, grew up in the game. You could tell that he is not wowed by major league pitching. He can hit.
Jeff Shaw played for the Expos in 93, 94, and 95, and he pitched from 1990 to 2001, was a two-time All-Star. And his son now is the everyday third baseman for the Red Sox to begin the 2016 season. Everybody expected it to be this man, Pablo Sandoval.
He spent a lot of money on Pablo Sandoval, and it just hasn't worked out for him.
There's a high pop-up down the left field line. Long run for Urania and Dwight Smith. Smith gets there. The left fielder makes the catch. We talk about the battle the Red Sox had in spring training, and these are the numbers Travis Shaw put up against Sandoval. And John Farrell, the manager, I mean, there's a lot of pressure. Look at the salary. Sandoval, $17.6, $500,000 for Shaw. There's a lot of pressure to get your money's worth from that Sandoval contract.
And you've got a player in Pablo Sandoval who has been an established major league player, who has done things in big situations in the World Series and in the playoffs. But that's what spring training is for. His job is to go out there and put his best team on the field.
Schlereth has called for a balk as he made a throw to first base, and Shaw was headed towards second, but Schlereth trying to get clarification as to what he was charged for, but he stepped toward home and threw to first.
And to finish up that on the Sandoval and Shaw third base, John Farrell, you know, is under a lot of pressure to win in Boston, and they have their meetings and they go through spring training and they talk about what's best for this team. Their best position at third base is with Travis Shaw in their minds.
One out now. This is Ryan Lemaire. He takes a strike. You know what helps John Farrell make that decision? His general manager did not sign Pablo Sandoval to that contract. Dave Dombrowski came over last August, and he said, you know what, you make the right decision, because Dombrowski didn't sign that contract. That ball gets away from Reeves and goes back toward the screen. Mike Reeves got a glove on it with Shaw running toward third. It'll be a stolen base for Shaw as he singled, went to second on the walk, and now picks up a stolen base.
And that will probably bring the infield in for the Blue Jays with the runner at third base. He's taken off after Schlereth gives him one look. And then he's off to home plate, bounces it in there. Mike Reeves can't come up with it.
Inside. We're in the eighth inning. Blue Jays scored 2 in the bottom of the seventh to make it a 5-4 ball game. Boston scored all 5 of their runs in the fifth. Lemaire walks. So Pete Walker takes that long, slow walk out to the mound. Schlereth in the game in the 7th. He will depart. We'll have a new pitching change here in Montreal when we come back.
Want the travel?
Regional 6 rivalry and the Battle of Alberta headline Hockey Night in Canada. Zetterberg and the Wings face Morgan Riley and the Leafs, while the Canadiens take on Jaromir Jagr and the surprising Florida Panthers. And the Flames square off against Connor McDavid and the Oilers. Catch all the action tonight on Hockey Night in Canada.
Lots of hockey fans here in Montreal. Lots of Expo fans have gone back into their closet and bring out their old Expos gear. This is Casey Lawrence, and he's an interesting guy. Casey has been in the Blue Jays organization since 2010, and he's always been a starter. He's got over 800 innings of minor league baseball, and he has made 130 starts in the minor leagues.
Sinker slider type of pitcher. He is steadily moving up, slowly but surely, up in the Blue Jays minor league system. He's a ground ball pitcher, so this is the time to get that ground ball.
Blue Jays have turned a couple of double plays, one in the first and a pop double play. There's the bunt by Sandy Leon. That's the old Joe Madden Tampa Bay Rays play, first and third. Try to get that extra run in with that safety squeeze.
Well, he's a ground ball double play type of get out of the inning type of hitter. So the Boston Red Sox figuring runners on first and third. Let's go with the safety squeeze, which is just get the ball down on the ground. If you're the runner at third base, you read it on the ground. You can walk home and you stay out of the double play.
This infield, you can see most of these guys at AAA Buffalo. Maybe Urania starts at AA, but Meyer, Adams, and Kotzman probably all going to be AAA Buffalo. Another bunt that's out in front of home, and Mike Reeves goes to first, but Leon puts the bat on the ball, picks up the RBI with the sacrifice, and the Red Sox get a run back.
If it doesn't work the first time, you might as well try it again. All you're trying to do is just get the ball on the ground. It's a perfect bunt after it hit off home plate, went sky high. And Shaw could walk home with the insurance run. You know, one other thing that it does is it gets another runner into scoring position.
Yeah, keeps you out that double play, and it's a good weapon. I'm surprised we don't see it more often. 2 outs now. This is Alan Craig.
You know, ideally, you'd like to bunt that ball to the first baseman because you got to hold that runner on there at first base. But if he doesn't give you one on the inside part of the plate, just get it down on the ground. And if it's a good bunt, there's really no way to defense it.
Yeah, offensively, the best way to bunt that ball is halfway between the first and second baseman. Make both of them go after it. Pitcher's going to take off, and you got a chance to get a base hit and an RBI. That's Koji Uehara, who is formerly the closer for the Boston Red Sox. He's going to work now as the setup man. Boston brought in Craig Kimbrell, who's been one of the best closers in all of baseball. He will pitch the 9th inning for Boston this year.
I saw his name on the roster. I wonder if he's here. I haven't seen him in 2 days.
I haven't seen him in 2 days either. We've been in the clubhouse. Greg gets jammed with that inside pitch. The Blue Jays are a little bit different than the Red Sox in that regard because they play tomorrow. So a lot of the relievers were kept down in Florida, not going to make this trip. They got some throwing in, I'm sure, over the last couple of days to minor league complex.
Well, that just doesn't make any sense to fly them all the way up here to get some work when they could just stay down in Florida and then drive over to the team hotel today to meet the rest of the squad. So John Gibbons, my last count, 11 relievers in the bullpen today.
Ground ball toward third. Gio Meyer has arm strength. Scoops over at first by Casey Kutchman. Red Sox score a run. It's 6-4 as we head to the bottom of the 8th. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Song.
Passion for Canada's team. Visit any Rogers retail location to sign the Blue Jays fan board and have your message included in the Players Tunnel at Rogers Center. Visit RogersCelebrates.com for details.
Well, get out and make sure you sign that because 2016 promises to be a very special season. This is the new pitcher for the Red Sox, Koji Uehara, and last season he had some problems with his arm. They shut him down 43 games for the season, but this guy's been good since he's joined the Red Sox.
Still had 25 saves last season with a microscopic earned run average of 223, throws strike after strike after strike. Take a look at that last line down there. 47 strikeouts, just 9 base on balls, and it's basically fastball, breaking ball, split finger fastball, and he just comes right after you. Teams now are fortifying their bullpens. And the Boston Red Sox did not think that Koji Uehara was going to be their guy in the 9th inning. They went out and got Craig Kimbrell, and they moved Uehara into the 8th inning. It's a very good, formidable back end of the bullpen.
Yeah, it sure is, and it's going to move Junichi Tozawa down further into the earlier innings of the ball game. So it appears to be better on paper, at least. Dwight Smith Jr. goes after the first pitch, pops it up a mile high. Sandoval makes the catch, 1 out.
Well, there's another arm for the Boston Red Sox who's going to begin the season on the disabled list. They traded for Carson Smith, and they got him from the Seattle Mariners. If you've never seen him throw, he's dynamite. And got a little bit of a barking elbow right now in spring training, so he's going to start the season on the disabled list. But that's another quality arm that they picked up this offseason.
Carson Smith, just 26 years old. He pitched for Seattle last year, and he had an outstanding ERA at 2.31 in 70 games. So they're going to miss him. He allowed just 49 hits in 70 innings. Casey Kotzman drills it toward the alley, and that's going to bounce and go all the way to the wall. Kotzman heading towards second. He's going to stop right there. Casey Kotzman can swing the bat.
He's a professional hitter. Spent some years in the major leagues. He's been around the game. His father also has been in the game for a long time. He grew up around the game. He's not going to get wowed by this atmosphere or who is out on the mound. That's a pretty swing. Soft, short. Not a lot of extra movement or wasted time in that swing.
He knew too what Casey Kotzman is. He's a class act. He has been great to help out the kids. He's just happy to continue his baseball career. He grew up in Seminole, Florida, not too far from Dunedin. Went to Seminole High School and was drafted first round by the Angels. And his father, Tom Kotzman, longtime scout and minor league coach and manager. There's a fly ball down the left field line. This is trouble if it's fair, but it hooks foul out of play. Gio Meyer took over for Ryan Goins and is taken over defensively at third base. Well, Pat, we've got the Red Sox and the Blue Jays here in this series, and of course they figure to be prominent in the AL East race. Red Sox coming off back-to-back last place finishes, need to turn things around. John Fales in his 4th season as the manager of the Red Sox. This is popped up on the infield. Rutledge, the second baseman, backs up, makes the catch. But the Red Sox won the season series a year ago 10-9. They won one more game than the Blue Jays. And you know, they always give the Blue Jays problems. There's no question about that. I don't care what kind of team they have.
This is a better team, the Boston Red Sox, than the one we saw last year. They've got a few more pitchers. They've got Kimbrell to end it. They got Price to start it. And then we saw that in Toronto last year when you acquire an ace, what it does for everybody else in that starting rotation as they get bumped down the line.
Their rotation is still a question mark. They have to have some guys step up. Clay Buchholz will go in game 2, Joe Kelly in game 3, then Rick Porcello will open up on Friday night against the Blue Jays. It'll be Stroman and Porcello in the home opener on Friday night, April 8th. Then Price will come back and pitch on Saturday afternoon against R.A. Dickey. And Stephen Wright, the knuckleballer, will go against Aaron Sanchez in the series finale on Sunday.
They have another pitcher on the disabled list, Eduardo Rodriguez, who's going to be penciled into the starting rotation.
Hit hard to third base. Sandoval with a nice play. Throws out David Adams. Sandoval has a strong arm. Once he gloved it, he was able to close out the inning for Koji Uehara.
Just an only official team shop for your Toronto Blue Jays. New 2016 authentic jersey with 40th season sleeve patch available for you now. Get yours today at jshop.ca. And Buck, just think how many jerseys we could have bought at J-Shop. If we bought a 50-50 ticket, the total was over $170,000. I didn't buy any. Did you?
Oh, yeah, we did.
yeah.
We loaded up. So if we don't show up tomorrow, you'll know we hit the jackpot.
Is Scott Carson here? He was in charge of our numbers.
He's got the numbers, and he hasn't been...
he hasn't told us anything.
No, hasn't told us a thing yet. And he's the number guy.
Oh, they haven't picked it yet? They haven't thrown up the numbers?
They haven't revealed the numbers yet.
All right.
Oh, no, there it is right there. It's on the scoreboard.
Scoreboard.
Let's go.
Write this down.
Mr. Numbers, king of all stats.
We were only about, what 50,000 off yesterday?
300,000. This is Rusney Castillo. Castillo breaks his bat, hit it right off the end of the bat. That cupped bat shatters.
No, not even close again.
Okay,
I guess we have to work.
Yeah. Back to work it is. Casey Lawrence came into the ball game and got 2 outs in the 8th. Gave up a run and a ground out. That was not his run. Look out. Rusney Castillo. They signed Castillo as a international free agent, signed him to a contract worth over $70 million.
Big iron. And right now,
Urania gets to it, but can't make a play. It'll be an infield hit for Castillo.
right now it doesn't look like he's got a starting spot for the Boston Red Sox.
No, it doesn't. He's going to start as a platoon player, probably. When you think about it, he's a right-handed hitter, so is Chris Young, and they're probably going to start with Young and Brock Holt in left field, so there's not going to be too many ABs for Castillo. Josh Rutledge has had 3 plate appearances after Dustin Pedroia started at second base. But Pat, let's continue the thoughts about how the American League East is going to shake out. Tampa Bay will see them first. And we all know they have a good pitching staff. Do you think the offense has improved dramatically? It's a liner to center. Nice play by Fields. That's the toughest play a center fielder has, that liner right at him.
To answer your question, I think when the season ended, as you see one more time, this sinking liner off the bat of Rutledge to center field, nice job by Fields to pick it off the turf. When the season ended last year, the Tampa Bay Rays made it a point, we're going to have to improve our offense. And I think they went out there and they got Logan Morrison and they let James Loney go. But that's a team that is built on pitching.
Oh, what a nice play by David Adams. Renner Castillo had broken towards second. Adams was covering the bag and the ball was hit right to him. But he had a tricky short hop.
We'll get this out. But that's a team that's built on pitching. I don't know if they fortified their defense. That's the thing I think if you're the Tampa Bay Rays you have to worry about. Has the defense gotten better?
I think that's the biggest thing ball clubs have to pay attention to is what are our strengths? And for Tampa Bay, it has been true over the years. Pitching is their strength. So what do you do to shore up the pitching? You make sure you catch it. Base hit to left field. Dwight Smith has got a shot, but he bobbles it. Castillo comes around to score. Smith charging, played the ball to the glove side and then booted it.
Probably not going to be charged for an error there because that was a do-or-die play by Smith. Swihart can swing it. Finds a hole on the left side and in his haste to catch the ball and get it into the infield quickly. Rolls up his arm. So it'll just be a base hit and an RBI for Swihart.
And that's the play that doesn't go in the books as an error, but he had a shot at the runner Castillo heading for home. Well, Swihart can hit, and so can Travis Shaw. He's 2 for 2 since entering the ball game. A couple of singles.
They're so familiar. As that ball is dropped by Reeves and the runner moves up. They're so familiar. When you look up and you see Swihart swinging, you think it's Shaw on the left side.
Yeah.
It's got that nice short stroke and hit the ball all over the ballpark. And if you make a mistake, it can get you for doubles and extra bases.
Yeah, their bat stays in the hitting zone for a long time. He had 13 home runs a year ago in just 65 games. Ninth inning, Boston with a 7-4 lead. They now hit the Blue Jays 10-6. Kyle Martin, the right-hander, loosening up for Boston. 3-0 count, 2 outs. Ball 4. Pat, we talk about the East. We haven't talked about the Orioles, of course. They got some big bats. First of all, they signed back Chris Davis, the first baseman. They brought in Mark Trumbo, who's got wicked power, and then they signed Pedro Alvarez. But are those home runs going to make up for all the swings and misses?
It's going to have to, I think. I think Buck Showalter and the Baltimore Orioles are going to live or die by the home run or the strikeout. The thing about strikeouts, you come up empty. I mean, you don't put the ball in play, there's no chance that the defense could mess something up, or it can find a hole when you're starting to talk about all those strikeouts. But they're going to hit a ton of home runs.
Sandoval bounces into the force out to end the inning. We'll go to the bottom of the ninth. The Blue Jays are down by 3.
Brunt was granted exclusive access to Roberto Osuna in his hometown of Sinaloa, Mexico this offseason. Learn how Roberto avoided the incredible danger that surrounded him growing up and how he defied the odds to become a major part of the Blue Jays bullpen at the age of 20. That is immediately following this ball game. Don't you dare miss it.
That's great advice, Hazel. It's a great piece. Stephen Brunt's a terrific writer and a great voice to put together this documentary, so make sure you check it out, and it's going to be the first of several that he will put together. This is Kyle Martin, who's in to try to close down this ball game here in the ninth.
Now we talk about the Blue Jays having 11 pitchers on their roster, this travel roster. You can say the same thing about the Boston Red Sox. They're carrying 12. This is Martin. Kyle Martin, the big right-hander, minor leaguer.
Richard Urania. For the season a year ago, Urania hit 16 home runs, and he can pick it at short. We had Ross Atkins on earlier in the ball game, the general manager of the Blue Jays, and he said the one guy that has really caught his eye since coming to the organization, along with Goins, is Urania. A good-looking shortstop who's a switch hitter with power.
And what did he say? He says he looks like he belongs here.
He had a base hit in the game last night, made a couple of good defensive plays as well.
Didn't Tim Raines mention his name also?
Yes.
When we had the Rock on?
As one of the position players in the minor leagues. Urania a year ago hit 15 home runs at Lansing, and he finished up the season in the Florida State League at Dunedin. And he gets a piece of that.
You know, there's just certain players, when they get to the big leagues, they're not overwhelmed. They got the slow heartbeat. That's what you call it in baseball terms, that they have the ability just to slow the game down and let it come to them.
1-2, nobody out. Fouled off the catcher's glove. Urania plays winter ball in the Dominican Republic, and I think young Latin players like Urania have an advantage over players from other places that don't have a chance to play winter ball, because they play in this type of atmosphere at home. And it's very competitive. If you don't perform well, you don't play.
You don't play.
And it teaches you how to win, because those teams are very competitive to get into the playoffs, get into the postseason. That's where the owners make their money.
Such an advantage to play year-round also.
And when that he fouled off a wicked pitch.
When you play winter ball, you're a young player. What do? You come up and you're being taught by major leaguers who are playing winter ball. Just like Tim Raines was talking about, Andre Dawson was good for him when he was a young player. These young Latin players go play winter ball, and you might have Hall of Famers playing on your team when you're a young kid.
Urania strikes out. First out of the bottom of the ninth. Well, we want to remind you we'll be on the air tomorrow. It all starts at 3 p.m. Eastern time. That's the pregame show with Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn. They will start it up, tee up the season, talk about the Blue Jays and how they're going to match up in the 2016 season. I have a lot of information for you, and that all starts at 3 Eastern time. Noon Pacific. We'll follow them. Top of the hour, 4 o'clock, we'll have the first pitch of the ball game. Chris Archer goes up against Marcus Stroman. How do you like the Blue Jays opening up with Tampa Bay in that ballpark at Tropicana Field?
You know, I guess that would be the time of the year to play them. I always think that the Tampa Bay Rays have a distinct home field advantage because of that ballpark. And in the middle of the summer, there might be 8,000 or 9,000 people in the stands. It's hot. People bring their families there. There's distractions in Florida. I think that's one of the reasons why the Blue Jays have had so much trouble playing in that ballpark, playing against the Rays. Now, the Rays have been good, and at times the Blue Jays have been bad, but I think that's one of the reasons. It's just a tough place to play.
Well, and it's a bad atmosphere. I mean, outside of opening day, there's nobody at the ballpark. There's a flying ball hit to right. Mike Reeves has hit a long foul ball. We lose sight of it down in that corner, but Mike Reeves in his second at bat.
So I guess if you're going to play the Rays, the best time to play them is when you're coming out of spring training.
Yeah, everybody's going to be fired up, of course. You get to play on opening day. There are only 3 games in Major League Baseball that day. One National League game, one American League game, and one Interleague game.
That's the good news, I guess, about having to go down there from spring training. You just bus over, I guess, from Dunedin and play the Rays. That's the good news. The bad news is you get a heck of a pitching staff. You got to face Archer and Smiley and Odorizzi, and then Matt Moore, who's been great.
Mike Reeves strikes out. He has struck out in both of his plate appearances. Now the Blue Jays are down to their final line. Lots of fans here have had a great time. They've had over 100,000 in attendance, and young fans with a couple of souvenirs there and a big smile on their face. 2 outs. Roman Fields. He's an interesting player as well, and Rock Raines talked about him, and he's got a chance to be a prototypical leadoff kind of hitter. He's got speed, puts the bat on the ball, can play center field. We saw him make a nice diving catch in center on a hot shot off the bat of Josh Rutledge back top half of this inning.
You and I always check in with Mel Didier during the year, and we ask him about some of the young kids, and he by name mentions Roman Fields. He got a late start in baseball, but he thinks he's a big leaguer.
He tried to hold up, went all the way around in that high pitch. Well, we saw 21-year-old Rowdy Tellez, first baseman, is going to start out the season in Double-A. He had an RBI double here. Urania has a lot of promise at shortstop. That's a base hit down the left field line. Watch him run. Fields around first. He's headed for second. He will check in there with a stand-up double. That's a pretty swing with 2 strikes. He was able to line it down the left field line. A 2-out double.
Bought that fastball off. He scored a run his last time up on an error. This time fights it off, slashes it down the left field line. He's thinking 3 right here. With his speed, I don't care what the score is. You want to show that you're always thinking one more base that you end up with. Red Sox did a good job, got that ball back in, held him to a double.
So Rowdy Tellez, who had an RBI double in his only plate appearance back in the 7th, that came against the left-hander Tommy Lane. He'll get a chance now with a runner at second and 2 outs. Got the first pitch off speed pitch. Oh, 0-2. Tomorrow, the Blue Jays are hopeful of getting Edwin Encarnacion back. He has not had an official at-bat in spring training, but he can be activated and added to the 25-man roster. That'll make John Gibbons' life a lot easier.
Yeah, penciling his name in the middle of that lineup day after day.
That's the ball game. Kyle Martin strikes out the side in the bottom of the 9th inning, and Boston takes the 2-game series. And they'll head off to Cleveland, while the Blue Jays will head back down to Tampa Bay.
Overall, it's been a good spring for the Toronto Blue Jays. They won 17 games while they were in spring training. But more importantly, they found out about their team. They know a little something about it. They got the pitching lined up, and I'll tell you, to a man, they're ready to get that big league season underway.
They sure are. Everybody has unfinished business on their mind. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Here's Blue Jays Central. Jamie Campbell and Greg Song.